Alrighty then. Uh, let's see how this goes. As usual, I'll welcome all the, sound test and tell me how it's looking and sounding. I already see that there are some frame drops, which is very unfortunate. But this seems to be my internet connection these days. I don't know what to do about it. It might improve. As usual. Okay, I should mute myself, but sound seems to be okay. Yep. Getting feedback. Getting feedback on the sound being fine and all that. But I did hear myself there briefly, so that's good. As mentioned, I've already had XSplit tell me that there are frame drops. So if that persists, I apologize in advance. It seems to be fine now, and this, if any time is good, is a good time to stream. It should be late at night where people are probably not hogging the bandwidth. But my home internet seems to be increasingly dodgy these days, which is unfortunate and hard to explain, but what can you do? Anyway, enough with the apology tour. Today is a very nice day in the Chess24 family, and I would like to start the stream by wishing Nelly a happy birthday, and that'll be the end of that. But I wanted to start with that, and then let's play some chess. I hope the challenges still hold. If they don't, I will figure out how to push the 5 button on my screen. All right, and more frame drops according to XSplit. But yeah, let's go. That's the last game I played on Chess24. An unpleasant loss against Schellingford. Let's try and improve on that. And the challenges decided to bug out again, which is awesomeness. Yeah, we will return to that. I will continue checking throughout the stream if the challenges. If the challenges return, we will get back to those. But for now, I guess just the 5-minute pool to begin with. Oh, and we start by playing our good friend Divis. This is something I've been doing recently, even in semi-serious games, actually. It's a weird line, but it's kind of playable. In particular, in connection with some sharper ideas. I used to play that as a kid, and my results were abysmal. I basically gave up on bishop f5 because I was more or less never worse in that line. But I think my results were like half a point out of 5, despite not really being worse in any of my games. And I thought, okay, this is probably somebody trying to, give me a sign I should stop playing this opening. Okay, so already some issues. I suspect you're supposed to play c6 here, but after queen b3 it gets kind of tricky. I'll still play c6, maybe he doesn't play queen b3. If he doesn't play queen b3, black is just immediately fine. But after queen b3, the big question is, I can play queen b6 and play a slightly worse endgame, or I can go for some sharper stuff. And what we get now is, like typically, this is supposed to be an extremely good version of the Carlsbad for black, because the bishop on c8 has been developed to f5 and exchanged for the bishop on d3, which is supposed to be extremely advantageous for black in terms of structure changes. Yeah, and I'm seeing in chat that people are having some issues with the stream. I apologize for that. I'm not sure if this is a great move, but if the bishops come off and the knight comes to d6, I will like my position a great deal. I think what white should do here is actually play bishop f4, bishop d6, bishop g5, which my opponent is right now, I think, going to do. And then I will have to kind of rethink my approach, because I don't really want to play f6. My sort of hope is that he feels that, you know, repeating moves like that is a bit weird and just does something else. Yeah, for instance that, because I am very, very happy with this structure. This structure is just very comfortable for black, because with the knight on d6 you can't even start your, you know, minority attack on the queen side, because the knight on d6 just controls so many important squares that, you know, playing a3 and b4 will just be extremely counterproductive. Queen e7 is the most natural move here. I'm trying to figure out if there's something smarter, but for the first game of the day, let's not overthink. White is obviously extremely solid as well, which is, I mean, it's not going to be easy to play this position for a win, unless my opponent decides to do something on the queen side. Because generally, sometimes you try to, like, f5, f4 in some positions is a good plan. And yeah, seems like I'm lagging unbelievably hard here, because queen e7 only just appeared on my screen and I made that move like 15 seconds ago. Yeah, this is going to be an issue. If this is going to be my internet today, this whole streaming malarkey might not work very well. I think I'll gladly take one pair of knights off here. He can't really take with the pawn, because after knight c4 I think the e5 pawn drops, so he has to take with the knight. And now, yeah, I'll go f6 just to drive this away, but now I have to kind of find a way to proceed from here, because my position is extremely solid, but on the other hand, it's not immediately obvious what my plan is. Yeah, I wanted to play queen d6, but allowing f3 seems a bit weird. I'm kind of critical about my decision to even play knight e4, because I am well, what this does is it provokes my opponent to make some moves which are probably good, but at least those moves will create a position which is a lot less balanced, which I think in general should be welcomed here, because unless one of us starts doing something, this is not really going anywhere. And sort of in the same spirit, I'll play h5. I'm not at all sure this is a good move, but I'm just trying to give him opportunities to do stuff so that the game becomes sharper. Yeah, and I apologize for all the issues you are reporting. I can see that in chat. I mean, and yeah, it's regrettable, but there's really not a lot I can do apart from, you know, kind of changing providers midstream is not something that is, you know, easily achievable. It might improve. I mean, it's the thing about this connection, about my connection these days, is that it's poor for a while and then it becomes extremely fast as well. I mean, it's not constantly poor. I probably should not have allowed this, but it's not really that horrible because I do have a target on d4 now. I'm choosing between knight f5 and knight b5, but knight f5 runs into potential queen c5 issues. No, 4g will be even worse. We have to persevere with this connection. Maybe I should have rebooted the router before starting the stream, but it seemed okay. There really wasn't any noticeable lag before I started the stream. Okay, I think it was a mistake to keep the stream open in the second window, so I have now closed that window. That probably should free up some bandwidth. Tell me if this is better. Rook d8 probably was a mistake though. But I do have knight e2 ideas here, so I think knight c3 was a lot stronger than knight c5 in this position. He should play something like king h1 right now, which is really not a very happy move to make. I'm not sure how easy it is to make in a practical game. Well played, sir. Well played. But it's also a bit tricky for me, because knight b7 is a bit of an unpleasant threat. I kind of want to play knight f3, but I don't think I can make it work, because queen takes d8, among other things, is kind of annoying. King h7, there's a long line after king h7, which almost works, but doesn't quite work. Here I should be quite a serious amount better, I feel. This is an important trick. Also, knight f3 may have been quite strong, but I quite like this. I think this should be quite good. And this should be mate of some kind, I guess. Queen c8, queen g4 actually saves him from mate, but this doesn't. I don't really want to tinker with the streaming quality as of right now, because I'm really hoping, because I mean, when this internet is fine, it supports the 720 stream perfectly well. So I don't really want to change the quality, and I'm not really getting any frame drop notices right now, so it might actually become okay. Let me see. I'm looking at those settings, and the resolution is, yeah, there are some frame drops. Yeah, I'm not sure what I should change it to, because like the options it gives me are actually higher resolution rather than lower, and that's not gonna help anybody. I can try lowering the frame rate, but once again, I'm not sure if that's even better. Is it completely unwatchable for everybody, or is it slightly better? Yeah, and what Karsten said just now does seem correct, because the options are not even active. I mean, they are grayed out. They all are upgrade options, which is not good, but they aren't even accessible. Okay, one thing I could try is we could take a pause for like 3 minutes, and I can try rebooting the router, and maybe this will help, because I think a small break in this, but that actually doesn't work as well. I need to talk to tech people, because if I stop the stream, the event might go away. Let me just check briefly. Because I really don't want to be, if it's impossible to watch this, there's really no point in continuing. And I would like to fix it. But if I, in an attempt to fix it, if I make it much worse, it's not gonna be a good solution either. Hang on a sec, guys. I'm sorry for all this. Today it seems to be a day for all kinds of weird issues. It's frankly how my last week has been going, sort of on all fronts. So I'm not entirely surprised this is happening with the streaming as well. But it's extremely unfortunate and not what I wanted to do for you guys. So and girls. Just give me 30 seconds. Well, it is kind of my fault. I could have tried rebooting everything. I rebooted both of my machines that I use for this before starting the stream, but I did not reboot the router, and that probably was a mistake. But I'm not sure it would have fixed anything, because frankly the internet has been very buggy for the past month. I tried contacting support, but they don't really know why. One sec. I've got the magical Chess24 tech people on the line, so we'll try and figure something out. We almost got ourselves a guinea pig today. I'll tell you stories. What can I do? Let's not pretend this is a chess stream anymore. We went for our evening walk with my wife, and along the way, just standing on the ground, was a cage with a guinea pig inside. I don't know the people who left it there, but I already don't like them very much. And as we were going back from the walk, we were kind of discussing what to do with it, because half of my family is sort of heavily allergic to every single animal known to man, and we were kind of making plans on how to host it for like a day or two, whilst actively searching for people who could find a new home for it. But when we got back to the same spot, it was already taken, so somebody had the same idea, I guess, and the guinea pig was saved. But yeah, that would have been interesting. We've had degus for like 10 days. This is becoming an animal rescue stream. Degus are highly recommended. They are very interesting animals. One thing you don't want to do though is let them escape from the cage. It took us about an hour to catch one Degu in a locked room of like the room is maybe like 20 square meters. All the doors were locked, so it was kind of locked into this this space. But yeah, not easy to catch. Evening walks with the wife, rebooting routers. What is this? 1852? Exactly. What do I think about Magnus playing the World Cup and being in my bracket? I think I could have gotten an easier bracket. I think the World Cup generally becomes a lot more exciting when Magnus plays. Obviously, it's attracting a lot more attention. What more can I say? It will be a bit tricky if he wins. One thing I will say is that because only 2 people qualify from the World Cup, if he wins, I assume he's not planning to play the candidates, because that would really, really screw up with the system. Therefore he is, you know, for instance, as of right now, as I understand it, the World Cup does not have a match for the 3rd place. But if Magnus gets to the final, there will have, by necessity, there will have to be a match for the 3rd place. Okay, I'm getting reports that it's not lagging right now, so let's go back to chess and hope that maybe the quality has improved. As I said, it's a weird connection right now. Okay. Back to playing Blitz. Challenge is still bugged, so we're playing the 5-minute pool. So it's lagging again, yeah? Wow. This is quite something. Not how I wanted to return to streaming to Chess24, if I'm entirely honest. And now the connection is just completely gone. Seriously? Internet, don't do this to me. Yeah, the whole big story, no lags. Yeah, I really don't know what's happening right now. Okay, I'll try to play this one game, and if it persists, I guess we'll have to work something out, because this is impossible. And I will pretend I did not hear you say that, Chaba. That was a very, very hateful and untrue statement. I got a very, very sound beating from Shellingford the last time we played, so I would like to get some revenge. Yeah, story time with Peter. This probably will be the format, considering how poorly everything else seems to be going. I used to know some theory about this line, but yeah, it's gonna be extremely difficult to remember. extremely difficult. Guinea pig never made it to my flat, so I don't think it gnawed any wires, Blobix. Yeah, I have a feeling I'm not really going to get anything out of the opening here. Knight a3 may not have been the most critical try in that position, to be honest. This doesn't look like it should give me anything at all. Not sure about this b4 move either. Might not be good at all, but I want to kind of make it as sharp as possible here. And if I make him go bishop f8, I will be quite happy, obviously. And I'm getting reports that if I actually restart the stream, the event will not disappear. So if you guys tell me the quality is still horrible, I will probably have to go for a reboot after this game, which it seems I might just lose out of the opening, which was not the intended result. Knight c3 is a very nice move by my opponent. I saw it in some other positions, but not in this one for some reason. Yeah, this is gonna be very, very difficult to extricate myself from here, from this. Because if I go queen e1, I lose material. I basically lose material whatever I do here. Pretty much. Kind of annoyed with myself. It's not totally lost, but it's gonna be bad. Bishop d3 is just very, very strong here. And simply bishop takes f1 in this position, after which my compensation is mainly illusionary. I have some compensation, but it really isn't a lot. And if you can still hear me, I will probably go for a break after this game to try and resolve the tech issues that we're experiencing right now. But yeah, this position is objectively, I guess, close to lost, maybe completely lost. I will get the knight d6 check in, but that's about the only good thing I can say about my position here. I'm starting with knight g5 just to confuse the issue a little bit. If he castles, I can play queen e2. It's actually not completely lost, maybe. Probably is. Or queen c2. Queen c2 might make things a bit interesting. Whoa, that's an interesting little move. I feel like I should have some play here. Like, this shouldn't be completely horrible for me. As long as I don't allow queen d4. I could make some quieter moves, but I really didn't want to allow queen d4. It feels to me that my play has to be connected with, you know, I need to play as fast as possible here. Create as many threats as possible, as fast as possible. It's still not great, though. Obviously. He can just go rook h5, and I'm currently not really creating any threats. And I have back rank problems as well, which is gonna be a huge factor. Yeah, and I'm sorry for all this, and I understand people who say that they are leaving. I probably would in their spot as well. It's a very understandable reaction. And this is not a good move yet because rook d5 is very strong. I realized it as I made it, but probably the position was just not very good anyway. Yeah, I'm not even sure if I can confuse him enough here. I'm not sure why he gave that check first, to be honest. I wouldn't have in his spot. I think it was completely unnecessary. But obviously black is just a full rook up here, so it really shouldn't matter. No, the PC has been rebooted, country boy. It's really about the router more than anything else. Might become a game now, actually. Or not. Yeah, this is a nice move. Yeah, this is a very nice move. One more very nicely played game by Schellingford. Kudos to him. I still have some slight tricks, but should be objectively lost. Well, maybe not anymore. Yeah, this is a perfectly fine position for me now. Objectively, maybe I'm moving slightly better. Might get flagged though, as is, you know, the usual procedure in these streams. Kind of want to get the game out of the way here because, well, I am now completely winning, but the stream needs addressing. And seems like I lost on time, even though I actually played queen takes b7. This is extremely annoying for me, actually, because I offered him a draw twice, which was declined for whatever reason, and then I played queen takes b7 like 15 seconds ago, and it just never got to the server. Whoa! I'm 1-4 against Schellingford. That's not a good score. All right, guys. Challenges are still bugged, so we go back to. Let's try something more extreme, and let's go into the 3-minute pool. 3-minute pool seems to be not full of people, so we'll go back to 5. 5 at least gives us a game reasonably fast. It really isn't about hardware. Yeah, 3-minute pool with lag is maybe not a good idea. Even 5 minutes doesn't seem to give me a game right now, which is alarming. I wish, country boy. No cricket to be had in St. Petersburg. I actually, at some point, actively went looking for it. It's just not there. Okay. Yeah, that's... Yeah, that's a good explanation. Thanks, Contiello. That was obviously a mistake. I was wondering why I was getting all those sharks. That actually explains it. It may not have updated the rating setting there. Yep. Now we're gonna get games. That was a very, very good spot, Contiello. Thanks for that. This is the line I actually played against Fabi in the last round of the Singfield Cup. But I suspect my opponent will play d5 here and not queen b6 as Fabi did. Yeah, this is a more critical line. I've been having some issues with this line. I've been playing knight c2 almost exclusively here. With, frankly, not great results, so I'll try doing this. I'm not sure if it's a good move, but I just want to try something new. Well, yeah, sharks. I mean, by the standard of this website, I think the two opponents I got before the enforced break in the stream were very, very strong. By any standard, frankly. I'm quite happy with this endgame. I think this endgame should be quite nice for white. I'm not sure if he needed to allow it, frankly. King e2 followed by immediate d3 was also quite playable, but I think this is more comfortable. I quite like knight g4 though. This shows very good awareness from my opponent. Followed by bishop e5. I quite like this play from him. This is maybe why I should have not done what I did, because it allows him to transfer his knight to the absolute best square on the board, which is something I should not have allowed so easily. I kind of relaxed there a little bit too early. Yeah, this is an issue. This is definitely an issue. He just goes king d7 here, and I can play f3, but then the position becomes either very level, or he might even go for f5 and go for an advantage. He probably should actually go for that. Or I can try doing something funkier, but I might be worse there. Yeah, this is kind of annoying. Not at all what I wanted to get out of that opening. Like, the whole plan with b3 was way too slow, and I kind of, well, obviously wrongly assumed my opponent will not do exactly what he did. I knew it was by far the best option for him, but I kind of discounted it a little bit. I'm not at all sure this is good, but it asks the question at least. I'm not sure what he should do in response either. Knight d3 is playable. Also, he can take and then try and prevent me from recapturing it comfortably. Both ideas are quite fine. Yeah, so far I'm quite impressed by my opponent's play here. He probably should play something like rook a8, and then I will have to waste another tempo on playing h3, because I cannot really allow him to go knight g4 after f4. So I'll have to start with this. And then I play f4 and recapture on d3. But black is fine. I think Yeah, what he's doing is very sensible. He could also play king d6 and then go knight d7, knight f6, which I think was also quite sensible from a positional standpoint. On knight f7, knight d6 is obviously very decent as well for him. I'm not sure about g5 though. I think it's not a bad move, but I don't think he needed to make it. Let's put it like this. Gives me time to start something on the queen side. Maybe not as much time as I thought, actually. And I'm hearing that my opponent actually did extremely well against Jan. Looking at how he's playing so far against me, I'm not at all surprised. Every single decision so far, I think has been quite good from him. Knight d8. I kind of this is good play. This is very good play from my opponent. I kind of only counted on rook h6 here, which would have been fine for me, but after knight g8, yeah, my position is weird. This is now going to become very sharp because I'm giving up on h3, but I will break open his structure on the queen side. I'm not sure I'm doing all that well. Yeah, and this is a very clever trick by my opponent. If I play b5 here, he wants to go knight e6 and then knight takes f4 with a discovered check. This is very witty play by my opponent. I like it. I don't want to play king f2, but I suspect I have to. The issue with king f2 is that if he takes on h3 now, after b5 he has rook h2 check, and I will have to play king g1, which is a very awkward move to make. But I'm still getting the c6 pawn, so it's not all that bad. This should be extremely good for me now. Unless I get mated on the other side of the board, which is not an impossible thing to happen here, but shouldn't happen. Yeah, I missed rook b6. That is a bad move. But rook a5 he could have taken on c7. That was what I was worried about. Yeah, this is now probably going to be a draw of some sort if I'm not... Yeah, I made an unfortunate decision there, and I'm no longer better, and might even be slightly worse. His structure is still slightly weak, and the pawn on f5 should fall, so I mean, objectively, I should not be losing this. I might even put him under some pressure here, because the f5 pawn, as I mentioned, is falling, and then the bishop is generally stronger than the knight in positions like this. But there are still some issues here, because he does have nice passed pawns. I don't like rook e8 though. This is the first move in the game where I really feel that my opponent hasn't really played what I would have played. Let's put it like this. Yeah, because rook g8 should have been played on any number of previous moves. Knight e1 check. Shouldn't blunder knight e1 check here. Clever. Yeah, this now will be a draw. Whoa. Okay, I'm blundering everything suddenly. This is no longer gonna be a draw. I'm also just gonna lose on time. Which is kind of regrettable. Yup, at some point I was much worse, I think, and then I was better, and then I maybe was somewhere around here. I suspect I may have been close to winning. And in the final position, whoops, sorry about the scrolling, yeah, gracious of my opponent. Actually, here I'm winning the knight back, but no, I'm not. Still, gracious of my opponent to accept the draw for here. Interesting game, and I think reasonably well played by both of us. And I completely stopped paying attention to chat. So after this game, let's take 10 seconds and like take a poll. How was the stream quality, guys? Is it now possible to watch this, or is the whole exercise completely horrible? Okay, I'm getting some feedback that the stream actually is working now, which would be very, very good news. My feelings about the World Cup are, you know, the run-up to the World Cup has not been the smoothest ever, and my bracket is not the easiest ever. So I seem to be only playing white, which is a bit weird. I will check the settings next time I press buttons. Not entirely sure what I'm doing here. I will continue doing this. Not quite sure what. Yeah, this question about what chess set do you use when playing blindfold, I've seen it before. I think it's a variation on the, you know, 100 duck-sized horses or one horse-sized duck type question. And the answer to that is always the 100 duck-sized horses, of course. So I'm going to stick with that answer even to that question. Playing all the players Jan played. This is maybe because these players are constantly in the 5-minute pool as opposed to most other people. Magnus to win the World Cup has just to draw his classical games. I'm not sure this is what he will be attempting, Tilo. I mean, there is something to what you're saying, obviously. Magnus is an extremely strong Rapid and Blitz player, and he will be, I guess, starting as a favorite in every single tiebreak. But also, you know, knowing what we know about Magnus, do you think he will be actively playing for a draw to get into tiebreaks? I would say no. I would say he will be playing normally, and if he gets into tiebreaks, he's not going to be crying. But I don't think it will be his aim. Yeah, Schellingford has bitten me like a drum. Apparently I have a 1-4 personal score against him on the site. This is a weird setup my opponent has suddenly gone for, because he could have played Rook C7 instead of all that. I'm not quite sure why he is doing what he is doing here. I'll play A3 to make it slightly more difficult for him to trade off the light squared bishops in the future. I can just close down the queen side and attempt to mate him on the king side, but I think I can still attempt to make him on the king side whilst keeping some options open on the queen side. He'll win in classical and still want to play the tie break, says Galactic. Yeah, that sounds That sounds like a likelier story. I guess my opponent wants to play bishop a6, and then I will have the option of playing b4. Actually, maybe he wants to play b4 himself, but then I can take. I'm not really that worried about. Yeah, knight g3 is an awkward move. I shouldn't have made it. Now the question is, I can go knight e2 back, or I can go knight h1 and then go knight f2. I think maybe this is a better square for this piece. Knight f1, knight h1, knight f2, and then I will probably go for g4, g5. Or maybe even g4 immediately. But yeah, if he does that, I want to have the sort of the second front open. I don't want my opponent to have a comfortable way of doing things on the queen side. I would very much like to have my bishop on d2 here, not on b2. Then my position would be close to winning, I guess. But it's not happening for me. Which is why I'm going to do this in order to transfer it to d2 later. Exchange some pieces, the board is overcomplicated. Yeah, that's good advice, actually. The board is not really overcomplicated. What will happen in the sort of immediate future is that I will win the b4 pawn, and then the question is whether I will be able to convert it from there or not. But the b4 pawn is basically a goner here. There is no way for black to hold it. And, frankly, the conversion shouldn't be very difficult, even. But that's in a normal game with, normal conversion techniques. Neither of which is really applicable to me, I think, these days. Queen e7 has been missed, but I think I'm okay even if he does it. Yeah, and this also has been missed, obviously. And my opponent now has, tremendous amount of counterplay. I'm not even sure I'm better, to be honest. I don't like bishop g5, though. I think it's slow. I think he could have done something more energetic. I think queen b1 in particular was a... Whoa, I missed bishop takes e3 there. That's a very bad miss, but I think maybe I can recover from it, because I have queen c2 there. And the pawn endgame might actually be winning for me. As might be the bishop ending as well. Whoa, okay. Yeah, not playing well at all today. Not playing well at all. Completely forgot d4 is hanging in that position. I obviously could have taken the repetition there. And bishop b2 is not in time either. I thought I can play some combination of b5 and bishop b2 here, but I'm not in time. Yeah, losing that position will hurt. This is not a position you are generally supposed to lose. With like zero counterplay and well, no weaknesses, zero counterplay type position. This is sort of completely lost. I'm just too annoyed at myself to resign, but I probably should. There really isn't very much I can do here. The f-pawn just runs. He creates a passed pawn and then just wins. Pretty much. Well, any passed pawn, yeah, this will do. I think this is not the yeah. In particular, now that he's taken on g4, I'm becoming slightly more interested in the proceedings, because I think this might be a bit trickier than my opponent originally anticipated. Or not. Yeah, that's a very good move. That's a very good move, and that is actually game over now. Yup. Yeah, losing that game was kind of completely unnecessary. I have a feeling that maybe I should have... first and foremost, maybe I should have not allowed him this trade. I can play, for instance, something like knight 5 d3 here. Not allowing him to get all the knights off the board, which I think would make my conversion a lot easier. And even once we get here, like, take some time to get the king over to c2, for instance, is a good idea. Taking with a bishop on b4 might be a good idea. And of course, in this position, you know, not blundering everything with king d1 is a decent idea as well. For instance, like queen a4 might be a move, g3 followed by h4 might be a move. Many things make a ton more sense than what I did. Yup. Not playing anywhere near to what I hope to be playing generally. Despite resetting the rating requirements, I'm still only playing 2,500 plus players, which is not something I'm against. I really like stronger position, but I was kind of hoping that this will turn into a stream where I play a more varied range of people, because this is what I think people generally want to see. I didn't exactly promise that, and you weren't... yeah, this is gonna be... I feel getting annoyed at that comment, Miktal. I can feel myself getting annoyed, and it's really not great. I don't want to get sort of even more annoyed than I already am right now. Yeah, it does, Fuxia, but currently the settings are plus infinity, minus infinity of my rating, which should lead to a much more varied field of opponents, but it doesn't seem to work. When I click on 5 again, you can once again see it on my screen. The settings currently are on basically any rating. Someone go tell him that Frostleech Jaina is a balanced synergy pick. I haven't actually been offered a single Frostleech Jaina in all my runs since they implemented this synergy bullshit. Polis Pastas. I've had some... I had a 12-win run with a Rogue Dark Knight hero. And I've had some Warlock Dark Knights, but no Frostleech Jainas. This is a tricky position to play, though. I should probably concentrate on that. Because I feel like I shouldn't be completely lost, but I also feel that if I make a mistake here, I will be completely lost. So it's a... requires attention, is what I'm trying to say. Yeah, that does make sense, Colin. But I'm sure there will be some people who are unhappy about that, Miktal in particular. Yeah, I like the expert trolling in chat right now. It's very enjoyable. I have a feeling this loses to bishop d3, but I thought for about a minute and I couldn't find a better move. So I'm going with that. And I understand this is not really proper chess reasoning for making a move, but this is really my reasoning here. I looked very hard for an alternative and I didn't find any, so I'm sticking with this idea. d5 might also be a decent move just to keep everything closed. GH might be very strong, but it could also lead to positions where I might actually break free. I'm not entirely sure about GH. Objectively, I should be in a lot of trouble, obviously, but yeah, d5 is one of the better options he has here, clearly. I need to find some squares for my pieces, basically. This looks extremely awkward, but I think I need to prepare queen b6. My pieces need to start coming out of the corner here. Yeah, just search explicitly for lower rated players might be... Yeah, I'll do that for a number of games after this one. This may not be a bad idea at all. Yeah, good point, people. Yeah, and this is, in particular, this is why I wanted to have queen b6, because now I have king d8 as a reply to bishop d3. This was hugely important to me to have that square for my king, because it would be very safe on d8, and otherwise it would be, you know, running a huge risk of getting mated. Did Federer finally win, by the way? I know he lost the first set, but I don't know what happened after that. And I don't think everyone will struggle, but I'm sure there will be some upsets. Quite happy about this endgame, actually. Because if he goes g6, I will be a pawn up, and I will also have this tremendous you know, pawn feast in the center. And if he takes on c6, I might even take b takes c6 anyway, but I can also go hg with, I think, a very decent position. It's also, I think, slightly less risky, but I think this is fun. Let's go for this. Allow him his fantastic protected passer on g6, but look at my center here. This is a thing of beauty. I'm not sure, I mean, objectively, probably hg5 is stronger, but, I mean, just look at this center. How can you say no to this center? I don't want to allow knight f4, obviously, but as long as I keep this knight locked out on h3, I should be doing quite well. And I'm not at all worried about g4. One last thing I need to do is to bring the knight from d7 to some better squares, and then I will be doing really, really well here, I feel. And actually, I think in his spot, you start very seriously looking at knight takes e4 as an option. Although it's not a great option, but yeah, I can definitely understand why you know, anyone playing this position with white would very seriously look at this as his next move, because it was just impossible to tolerate those pawns. But I should be much better here, objectively. Yeah, and things are starting to fall apart for my opponent. Yeah, interesting game. I'm quite happy with this one after a number of games where I kind of disliked what I was doing. This I think was an interesting game. Okay, so the setting is back to this. And also we got the game before before anything could happen. So okay, I'm sorry about that, but first of all, it wasn't starting, and secondly, I promised I will do this. So I will do this. And we'll keep this setting for 3 games in a row, and then you see it still gives you the highest possible. So I guess I have to scroll all the way down. I'll do that next game. We'll see what happens after I scroll all the way to the left. If I beat Magnus, I get to the last 8. That still doesn't qualify me for the candidates. Super elite. So no, that sadly that is not how it works. I would still need, I think, to win 2 more matches after that. I think you're supposed to include Queen G4 somewhere in that line. Not that what my opponent is doing is horrible, of course it's not, but generally it's a lot harder for black to develop properly if white includes Queen G4 and forces black to play G6 at some point. And also a4 followed by a5 was definitely an option white could have considered at some point, just to switch to the queenside play. But I think my opponent is very concentrated on giving me mate, which is a very honorable way of approaching this opening. I don't mind that at all. But he's also giving me sort of additional time to get to grips with his. What have I just done? Okay, so this is very similar to some games I've had. In particular, I remember a game I played against a very young Arkady Naidic in Dortmund, where he tried giving me a mate in very, very similar style. And I have to actually think about this very carefully, because G6, E5 appears to be extremely strong right now. And Bishop F8, E5 is seemingly close to winning. So I need to find some kind of a tactical solution to my problems here. There are all kinds of piece sacrifices there, but I don't think any of them work. I can play E5, but that's such a sad concession. Like, my position if I play E5 is just... it seems to be strategically close to lost. I can play Knight F8, Knight D7. Yeah, maybe I'm more or less restricted to actually this one option. But it's not great, obviously. It seems like, despite my slight criticism, what my opponent did is actually faster than what I did. And I'm a couple of tempi short. If I already had Bishop F8 and Bishop G7, I'd be probably okay, but those moves are not on the board yet, and because of that, his attack is just faster than my quote-unquote counterplay. Yeah, these are incredibly uncomfortable moves to make, obviously, but I'm hoping to restructure my pieces in such a way that I will be able to, finally start breathing again. In particular, I want the bishop on f6. and the knight may be on c5. And if he does that, I was kind of hoping I can take and then plant something on e5, and the knight goes back to f8. And then the pawn on h7 is actually quite well protected. And my position at some point became so critical that I got the, I mean, the chat completely ran away from me. I have no idea what's going on in chat right now. I feel like d5 is a, you know, like you almost feel obliged to play d5 in positions like this, but I feel like it's not working yet. It's kind of sad. Let's take. Now I wanted to play g5, but then d5 and queen takes e8 is quite strong, but I can prepare it by playing bishop c6. And if he goes a4, then I think I can play g5. Or even now, I hope. I hope I'm not blundering anything here. Defenders was watchable, Jan, but I wouldn't say it's must-see TV. I quite like this universe, and I watched some of the... Like, I watched Jessica Jones, I watched Daredevil, I sort of enjoyed both. But Defenders itself is meh, I would say. I'm perfectly happy to trade the queen for the two rooks on f7 here, because I think my structure will then be the major factor. And he probably should do it anyway, because like knight d1 is way too slow here, or at least it seemed to me like it must be way too slow. My opponent disagrees, and actually I'm beginning to disagree with my own statement myself, because I underestimated just how strong knight d1, knight f2, knight d3 is in this position. I shouldn't have gone d4. Like I stopped liking it the moment I released the piece, which is what always happens. You make a move and you immediately realize you made a large mistake, but it's too late to go back. I'm kind of trying to tempt him to take on d3 to create some space for my pieces. In particular, I want the g-file for my rooks. But it's still fine for him, I think, to take here. There's nothing wrong with taking. And here bishop takes c4 seems actually to be working, because in the end there, after queen a8 check, I have queen d8. This appears to be a blunder, though. Ah, that's a good point, Shillingford. Yeah, d takes c3 was very strong there. I hope I would have found it, but maybe not. Who knows? You would hope I would see it once we got to that position. Okay, so there seems to be a lot of lag on my side, because I can't even click on the 5. So click on 5, immediately stop searching, and go even lower. You're welcome, Mebius. Okay, I said I will play non-premiums, so I will play non-premiums, but... Ah, the Benko. What's the sharpest line of the Benko I know nothing about? It's probably f3. I assume at some point I have to start taking this pawn and just, you know, claiming that this is not the best Benko structure ever. I'm not sure what the theory says about any of this. I'm pretty sure you're not supposed to take on b5 with the king still on e8 because you now have to waste the tempo on bishop d7. And I am fairly convinced this is not how you do this. Yeah, this has to be an incredibly good version of the Benko for white. One thing that is lacking is this knight on e2 kind of needs to be closer to the c4 square. But you know, it's a stable extra pawn with most of my bases covered. Good night, Pramod. You know, just, you know, having said all that, black still gets, you know, as usual in Benko, black always will get some counterplay. It's never completely unplayable. But still, like, I stand by my assessment. This has to be about as good a Benko as you can get. Knight a3 instead of knight c3. Yeah, that does make a lot of sense to me in Galactic. Yeah, I can definitely believe that. And now we need to start something in the center. I will spend the tempo on h3 so that he never has knight g4. And then I just want to start pushing f4, e5 and open the center up while most of his pieces are tied up on the queen side. Yeah, that makes a ton of sense to me, guys. Yeah, this is a good restructuring by my opponent. He needed to do that, but the hope has to be that this is not fast enough. But it's gonna get a bit tricky here because, yeah, I'm not sure what this queen c7 is about. I don't think black has time to waste here. I wouldn't have given myself this tempo, let's put it like this. He could have just played knight b6 straight away. And this allows me to sort of further stabilize and continue preparing e5 at my leisure. Yeah, just a pawn up and also kind of crushing the center. I can take with almost like I think this is safer, but I could also take with the a pawn. I just don't want to open any files at all for him. It's now more or less completely winning for me. Not really more or less about it even. I would go as far as to say that this is completely winning for white. I can even continue chomping material. Rook e7 was also winning. More or less any move is winning now. Not a lot to say about this position anymore. Yeah, I second that notion. Let Schellingford have his own Banter Blitz show so that we can challenge him and get the scores back to where they belong. Let's see how well he does when he has to speak. I could have just played d7, but I want to give mate. That was a bit mean, but I mean, like, 1-4. My feelings are hurt. It's not, not very many people in the history of chess have such a score against me. I'm allowed some hurt feelings. Playing against Omar Little. Well, playing if he ever shows up. But we're gonna give the utmost respect to somebody who is called Omar Little, obviously. This is the man, the legend. And there it is. So I already played the Perts and I played the Sicilian. Let's yeah. There was a request for Alechin, so I will play Alechin. Where's my Alechin? Come on. No fair. Okay. How do you not play e5 in this position? Why is my opponent not allowing me to play some complete crap? This feels unfair. I have a very bad score in Classical against Vichy, and I have a minus score against Kasparov, obviously. Those are not the only two people who I have a minus score against, but those two people I think are the two people I have the worst scores against. Maybe. Not 100% sure. But Vichy in particular. Not sure about knight g4, frankly, but it gets us a non-standard, non-symmetrical position, which is, I don't like h3. You should never ever give up this bishop for nothing in the Sicilian. Bishop d4 was just much stronger there. Bishop d4 actually was quite awkward for black. I played knight g4 kind of forgetting that option existed. What do I think about Kasparov's performance at Singfield? I think, and also there were some Facebook posts which I won't, quote because I don't remember them verbatim, but they, came from people who have had some connection with Gary in the past, saying that his preparation for the event included some Blitz played online. And that was mainly it. And he did look extremely rusty and extremely, underprepared and undercooked in the first couple of days. And once he warmed up, he looked a lot more like himself, and actually, I think, performed, reasonably well in the later half of the tournament. So. His tweet that was, widely retweeted by everyone, saying that, these kids were just getting tired and I was just getting warmed up, and why is there no round tomorrow? It was obviously said, somewhat tongue-in-cheek. Okay, so my keyboard is dead. I wanted to reply to Omar Little, who said something nice to me in chat, but my keyboard died, which might mean that this stream ends kind of abruptly, because once the keyboard dies, there's always a risk. From that moment onwards, there's always a risk that my notebook just stops functioning altogether. It could happen an hour from now, or it could happen 5 minutes from now. So you've been warned. It feels kind of bad that I'm not replying, if somebody could, after the game, if somebody could get in touch with Omar a little and explain my my keyboard issues to him, because I generally do type something back to people who take you know, the time out to say something in chat to me, but I physically cannot right now. This is a nice square for this bishop, obviously. If he goes knight d4, I will take and play rook a4. And, you know, also taking and bringing the king to d6 and then starting an invasion looks pretty decent, actually. Once the king is on d6, the pawn on c6 is completely safe. I'm not sure about f3. I think f3 might be a mistake. This is probably a bad move either, as well, is what I want to say. Yeah, I don't really like what I'm doing here. There must have been a much cleaner way to convert from the position I had. Yeah, really disliking what I'm doing here. The position probably is still winning, but yeah, this is not good conversion. Stop with the... I mean, trolling me is all good and well, but, you know, when you shoot at the king, you best not miss, is what I want to say. That's weird. Did it reset itself somehow? Because I think it was still on the lowest end of the spectrum, and I am somehow playing somebody rated 26, 27. I'm not sure what this e6 move is all about. Why would you play d5, c6 and then e6? That makes no sense to me. You play d5 and c6 with the intention of bringing the c8 bishop out, not with the intention of that locking it back in on c8. It's possible to play like this against the knight f3, g3 lines, of course, but you want to play c5, and you will eventually probably have to play c5, which means that you just wasted a tempo on c6. That's just a very weird approach to me. I guess he now has to switch to e5, actually. Just castles, and if I play rook e1, he goes e5. That is, I think, a valid continuation from the position he found himself in. But, once again, not very consistent. If you want to do that, you don't really need to do it the way he did. This should be a good reti, but, you know, you can make an argument for there being no such thing as a good reti. I'm kind of actively inviting him to play a4 because I want to try and do something in the center, but it's going to be quite risky. Knight g5, e4 is possible, but it's very slow. It's not what I wanted to do. I wanted to do something very specific, but yeah, let's try that. That was kind of the idea I had, but actually I think including rook b1 and a4, was not great there. Because now, for instance, bishop f5 just gains in strength quite a great deal. I don't know why he played bishop c7 so fast, though. It feels like, you know, the position was interesting enough, and black had enough options to, you know, merit spending some time on them. Yeah, I also shouldn't be blundering pawns in one move, obviously. That's like a bigger issue than my opponent's slightly weird timing, but that's on me. Somewhat surprisingly, I'm not doing horribly despite the blunder, because b7 is hanging and I have good pieces. I'm not sure why I played rook c1. I could have just taken on b7. I thought bishop b3 wasn't great, but I now realize that I don't actually have a good square for this queen. Yeah, just taking on b7 was much better. I will win this pawn back, but yeah, this endgame is not... it's not worse for me, but I don't think it's better either. Should be close to equality, I guess. I'm wondering if I should take with the pawn here to try and create a passed pawn on the b file. Looks interesting. I'll give it a shot. I'm not sure this is stronger than knight takes b4. Knight takes b4 is safer, but this is kind of more ambitious. Obviously missed bishop f5 here. I should have put the bishop on a different square. Really not playing well here. Also becoming kind of severely annoyed at myself for not playing well. Bishop c6 is just such an abysmal move. I think I just need to make a draw. I think this is a forced draw, if I haven't blundered something new. I think this leads to a forced draw, but yeah, very, very unhappy with how I played this game. I think my opponent is being slightly overambitious here. I don't think he is better if he does this. He might actually run into trouble. Maybe not a ton of trouble, but I still feel that, you know, this is a bit much. And now he is kind of back to the original premise of wanting to make a draw, but yeah, I missed rook f6 though. And knight b6. It is close to 1 AM here, so it's maybe not entirely surprising that I'm playing like an idiot. But it's annoying me. If nothing else, it's kind of annoying me a great deal. Don't really like playing like an idiot. Might actually objectively be lost now, which is stupid. Another game where, you know, I managed to play myself into absolutely unreasonable amount of trouble, which wasn't really, you know, called for in any way, shape or form. Probably not really even much worse anymore, but yeah, who knows. I've already blundered so many things in that game that, in this game, that, you know, I wouldn't trust my assessment. And we'll clearly lose on time anyway, so it doesn't really matter anymore. Also, the last 5 moves were horrible, and now I am objectively lost. Yeah, there are some weird things going on in this game. It is still set to the lowest possible rating, so I don't know how I got this guy. Okay, let's go back to the full range. I'll probably stream for another half an hour, 45 minutes. I don't think I can manage much more than that, and I kind of feel the quality of my actual gameplay slipping game by game, so something like 4 to 5 more games will probably be the most I can manage. This one doesn't seem to be starting, so as the usual procedure is, we'll give it another 5 seconds and then stop, I guess. Okay. And I got myself a ton of water in preparation for the stream, and I'm not drinking it, which is also not ideal. Ah, I know this guy. I played this guy. I played Neidorf against this guy. He had a winning position against me after 10 moves. No real idea what I'm doing. Basically, every time I play the Italian, I play something new, because I can't really make myself remember all those move orders. It's a bit ridiculous. I'm sure I've seen this position before, but I honestly have no idea what I'm supposed to do here. Yeah, A5 definitely exists, but my follow-up probably isn't ideal. Does seem to be the real Aparin, and the rating suggests it is the real Aparin, so we'll proceed from there. Like, that's the default assumption, right? When you see somebody named Aparin Grigori with a 2989 rating, you have to kind of assume it's who it says it is. Yeah, this could be an issue, for sure. Should have included h6 at some point. I feel like I'm going to hate my position a great deal in the immediate future. Like a very, very great deal. I don't know why I played a4 as well. Like, my plan was to play rook a5, but it doesn't work on so many levels. So many levels. Yeah, this is gonna be painful from here on out. I'm kind of obliged, I think, to even play a3 here, but like more or less every single move he can make in reply is strong. Before it looks quite good. B takes a3 even is not horrible. Bishop takes f6 is fine. There's literally nothing he can do here which will give me a good position. Yeah, b4 is the most logical reply. Followed by knight c4, and I've painted myself into a corner here quite convincingly. Like, none of my pieces really work with each other. The whole setup is like h6 needed to be included at some point for this not to happen, and there's really no comfortable way to continue from here. Maybe even going with my original intention of rook a5 was better than this. Like, I can play knight d4, but there's like everything is wrong with it. Just an unbelievably bad position from here. The pawn on a3 is probably a goner. If I wanted to play queen d8, I needed to do it before I played a4 and a3. With the pawn on a5, it would still be quite awkward, but at least my position wouldn't have been lost, which it is right now. I'm slightly surprised he does it this way, but it's probably quite good, actually. I thought that he would wait with, you know, something, but like prepare it with queen c1. But actually bishop takes f2, as I realize now. Bishop f2, rook f2, rook a3 would just give him a very, very simple and comfortable advantage. And here, like, we get a normal type position, but I have no a pawn. And I also blundered knight takes e5 here. Just not playing well at all. This is not really the opponent you want to meet when you're already feeling quite tired. Yeah, this is completely resignable now. I'm kind of being somewhat disrespectful here to my opponent for, like, not resigning here is actually, you know, not great against a grandmaster strength opponent. But, you know, we'll soldier on for a bit. Try and create some practical difficulties, but knight g4 is probably completely winning. Knight takes d3 might still be winning as well. I'm not sure this is so bad for him to just take. Also, rook a1 is probably quite strong. This I did not mention, but it looks very good as well. Is there even any way to continue the game from here? Like, I want to play queen f5, but I think g4 wins there. At least let's make him play g4. Maybe he decides not to. Yeah, this is very strong. This is probably the cleanest win. Quite like what he's doing here, unsurprisingly. Yeah, I think it's kind of just game over. Yep. The whole sequence is just like here. I think I'm supposed to play h6, and then the queen b8 idea is not horrible. The idea of bringing the queen to a7 is not completely ridiculous, but it needs to be prefaced by playing h6 because knight b3 bishop g5 is just incredibly awkward. I will, with apologies to Möbius, I will stop that because I really shouldn't be playing more than one game against the same people during one banter. No, I'm not. What's wrong with the system? This game has finished. I wasn't really, if I gave that impression der Henker, I want to take it back. It's not, I don't feel any shame about losing to Aparin. I have almost lost to him in Classical, I have almost lost to him in Rapid in Zurich. When I sound unhappy, it's my unhappiness with the level of my play, not my unhappiness with the results of my play, in particular when I'm playing against very strong opposition. Yeah, that's not happening either. Mainly a very good game by him, ZS. Not a particularly good game by me at all. I made a number of very bad mistakes in that game. Not really sure what's happening with the pool, but you can see it on your screen. Okay. Ah, hello Galactic. Yeah, some Hearthstone would probably cheer Peter up, but not today. Today Peter is uncheer-upable. Generally. This plays around this newfangled bishop c5 stuff. Not that it gives white anything anyway. Have I played Galactic today? I don't think I played Galactic today. Have I? After my big speech about not playing same people twice. If I actually played Galactic already, that would be extremely embarrassing. Yeah, my memory is not what it used to be, people. Clearly. Can't even remember nicknames. I've definitely spoken to, sort of replied to stuff Galactic said in chat, but I don't think I played him. King h8 was a slightly weird move. I think black generally just plays bishop e6 in that position. That's like the theoretical the main theoretical line. I'm wondering if I should play d5 here, just to spice things up a bit. I can play rook c1, but it feels boring. Let's go with the more exciting proposition. Not at all sure this is good though. Like, he takes on b1. I mean, he can also start with c takes b6, but I think he should take on b1. I take, he takes. My plan was to play knight takes c5 in that position, but then bishop f6 is kind of awkward. So I am now revising it to try and evaluate rook d1. This is where I'm currently at. But after rook d1 he can just play bishop d6. This is not good. Yeah, knight e5 would be excellent if not for the fact that after bishop f6 I have no comfortable reply. It would be great to play a3 here, but he can actually take on yeah, he can. Damn. That would have been a nice way to continue. If I played a3 here, he takes on d5, I take, he takes on d5, I go queen g5, attacking his queen on d5 and attacking the pawn on h7 with mate threatened. But he has e5, e4 as a reply. Yeah, I think I got carried away. It's very regrettable. And rook d1, bishop d6 is just such an easy move to find as well. Like, there's almost no other move that you can make, and then black is just better, I think, because black has an extra exchange. Life is... The night is dark and full of terrors or something. I can bluff with a3, but I'm just kind of lost if he goes for what he should go for there. It's not a good bluff. If he doesn't play bishop d6, my position is quite good, but like, what else, what kind of move can you make apart from bishop d6 in this position even? This is the biggest problem. It's almost humanly impossible to make any other move. I do have some positional compensation, but that's about it. Like, the most I can claim is that my position is not entirely lost. I might get some control over the c file. I might plant the knight on b5. The second one might come over to c4 if my opponent kind of passes for 5 moves in a row. But yeah, there were a lot of options there which were saner and stronger, and which I should have gone for. The immediate knight a6 is quite fine, sure. I'm trying to sort of shift the bishop from d6 and play d5, d6 myself, and then I will have some serious compensation, actually. Thank you, Mikhailo. And this gives me additional hope, because now I have at least 2 pawns for the exchange. Yeah, this is sort of the kind of the position I wanted to get. Maybe I should have gone knight b5 anyway, but it's very difficult to say no to your opponent just giving you a central pawn. He should play b5 here. It's very important for him to get this pawn to b5 to challenge this knight on c4. Yeah, because if he allows... Okay, this is kind of regrettable, but this is too late in the night for me to not accept the blunder of this magnitude. Like, obviously in this position I can play rook c1, and the question is whether black can play knight c4, but there's a number of things I can try after this. And even in this position I can play rook c1 here. I can do a number of things, but what I did was very much predicated on playing knight takes e5. But after bishop f6, there's just no good square for this piece. And let's say if I go knight g4, I think he can take, because if I play rook d1, there's always this knight takes e3 tactic. And as I explained, if I go a3, once again, knight a6, knight takes e5, I'm quite happy. But he takes on d5, I take on d5, queen takes, knight g5. Seems like I win, but e4 just solves all of his problems. Yeah, Jan is exactly right. My only weakness is hungry and sleepy. You're welcome, Galactic. You were playing well until you kind of panicked somewhere around here. In particular, after bishop h3, I think what you should do is you should play g6, creating a threat of f5. I'm more or less obliged to play e4, but this actually locks in my own pieces, and also the bishop, if it eventually comes to c5, it will be much stronger because it will have this diagonal to operate on. Yeah, sorry, Omar. Once again, could somebody explain to Omar that I'm trying not to play the same people again. I can't type, but I'm sure Jan can communicate with Omar without, you know, testing fate too much. Haven't played b3 yet. I don't really play b3. I'm not one of those b3 people, but I played almost everything else today, so let's try this. I'm not like, what would Jabava do is the question you should ask yourself in this position. I feel like Jabava would play f4 here. So this is what I will do as well. Don't really want to castle short. It feels kind of pedestrian, but don't really feel like I have a choice. I only just realized what you were talking about regarding dolphin avatars. Yeah, I didn't really realize I'm playing against a dolphin. This is the wrong stream to be doing the troll dolphin picks, though. The correct stream ended a couple of hours ago. I'm not sure if 5 is so great, though. I mean, I understand the concept, but I feel it's kind of overcommittal. Might not be bad, though. I mean, it's not what I would have done, but it might be not bad at all. Yeah, I am aware of Jan's love affair with dolphins, Miktal. b6 is probably playable here. I thought this was quite strong, but yeah, knight b6 I don't like at all. I think this is way too passive. It allows me to gain more space. Whoops, more space on the queen side. I would have played b6 or maybe a5 first. I'm quite happy with this development, though. In particular, if I get enough time, yeah, I quite like knight d7 from my opponent because, yeah, now he gets to play c5. Exactly. I'll try keeping it slightly more close. I don't want to open the b file for him. I feel like if I keep the queen side closed, I will be able to maybe start something on the king side later. I kind of feel like playing g4 here, but I know it's incorrect, so I will restrain myself. Objectively, black is completely fine, but maybe, you know, we can hustle up some initiative on the king side. g4 is looking slightly more sane here, but probably still not the time to do it. What I want to do here is I want to, yeah, basically this, I think this is a huge mistake. And this is exactly the kind of a move I wanted to provoke, and I thought I will have to work quite hard to provoke it. But my opponent has just done it without almost no invitation at all. I wanted to even play bishop d3 next move to invite black to win 2 tempi by playing c4 and driving it back to e2. Basically now his queen side is kind of completely locked in, and I will have all the time in the world to start something on the king side. My position is suddenly, I think, completely dominating. I can afford to even completely prepare for all of this, play rook f1, rook f2, rook f1, and then at some point I will play g4 once I feel that it's adequately prepared, and that should be enough. I probably already could have played g4 on the previous move, but I will wait one more move here. That's a nice trick, Omar. I didn't know it worked like that. Already feels like something like knight takes g5 might be winning, but I don't know if I have to. I might have to, actually. No, it's a lot better to just give mate properly. Almost did something incredibly stupid there, but queen g6 is just too strong. Once it lands on h7, the game should be effectively over. Rook f7 is about the only move here that he can make here, which doesn't lose on the spot. But even here, like queen g6, queen h7, bishop g6 probably wins, like in a materialistic fashion. But I'm looking for something which is more exciting. Might not exist though, so I will go with the boring let's collect all the material line. He can actually take on f7 here, but this has to be winning for me, right? I guess I'll go with knight e6. It kind of demonstrates the power of my position most clearly. Like every single piece of mine is better than his, and here I can, well, once again, let's go with the boring line. Queen takes b6 was also winning. I mean, more or less any move was winning there. Not a lot to say anymore. Okay, so one or two more depending on how the next one goes. If it's a game I'm extremely dissatisfied with, I will play one more. But if it's a normal game of some kind, I'll probably call it quits after that. I do feel like I'm on my last legs here, and I'm not really providing the product I would like to be providing, let's put it like that. Did I miss mate in one? I don't think I missed mate in one Dutch defender, did I? No, I don't think I missed mate in one. Typical dolphin behavior. Jan is not gonna get, off his high horse anytime soon, I feel. Where did I miss mate in one? You're confusing me. Also, I don't seem to be getting a game. But yeah, we'll try again. Okay, if to queen g8 would have been a very strong move if it was a legal move. Yeah, if that's what you think I missed, I will freely admit to missing that mate in one. Every time I play this line with black, I end up with a completely lost position. I don't know why I keep on subjecting myself to it, but seems like something to do, I guess, would be my best reply. Like I honestly, not only do I never get good positions out of this line, I also dislike them quite horribly, which makes my insistence on playing them even more baffling, even for myself. Like, something needs to be done about the fact that she will play g4 at some point and lock everything up completely, but I don't really see how I can prevent it. I can play knight f5 and after bishop f2 play something like h5, maybe. Not that I'm gonna enjoy this position, but maybe it's something worth trying. Just to, create a home for this knight on f5. But, I mean, a4 before knight e4 is quite strong. Knight e4 immediately, which is what my opponent has done, is quite strong. I really should not be playing this line. There are some people who know what they're doing when they're playing this. I'm not one of them. I don't enjoy the experience. I should just stop. Like, every time I see a Tiger Healer person do this, I feel, yeah, this is exciting, this is playable, why not try this? And then I do try this, and I get positions like you're seeing on the screen right now. And I feel stupid, which is not a great feeling. I want to change the structure somehow, but there are no good structure changes. I wanted to play c5, but I think it kind of loses by force. And basically, if I do something quiet, white just plays a4 and is sort of strategically winning here. Like, how do I even reply to a4 in this position? I cannot afford to have anything at all open on the queen side, and there's really no way to stop it. And also b3 c4 looks extremely strong, which is what my opponent is doing. This is mainly to have the b4 square available for the knight if she goes c4. But yeah, a3 is you know, a very logical and a very unpleasant reply for me here. As expected, this is not going at all well. But at least, you know, when I do this, I hopefully create you know, some complications. Up to this point, I think her play was extremely logical and also, you know, very, very easy. No real tough decisions were required at any point. And now the structure is a bit trickier, and I have my trumps. You know, the pawn on b3 might survive for a couple of moves. You know, the rook might go to a4 in some positions. This is suddenly a lot less clear. And once she's distracted by things happening on the queen side, I might even dare castle king side. My apologies. So in general, this has been a very large improvement. My position probably is still objectively quite bad, but at the very least I managed to, you know, open a second front and create some counterplay. I need to safeguard my king anyway. I need to connect rooks and safeguard my king. Knight takes d5 is not actually an immediate threat. I mean, the pawn on f4 will be hanging after it, is what I'm trying to say. So I can try ignoring it. I can also go for some immediate counterplay somehow. It's a difficult position to play. e6 doesn't feel right. I was wondering if I should play e6, but e6 just feels wrong on a very basic level. Somehow just doesn't feel like a move I should be making. But maybe it's not horrible. And once again, people are telling me nice things in the game chat, and I can't reply. So I will have to do this. I'll have to do this after the show. And queen d2 back. That's an interesting move I did not really consider, and quite a strong one as well. Did not really expect this to happen at all. Yeah, this is a huge problem. Another huge problem is that I'm obviously going to lose on time. But yeah, we all know how that goes. I do get some positional compensation here, but yeah, objectively this is not great. And you know, time management will eventually be probably the biggest deciding factor. Whoops. I thought this wasn't really possible, but maybe it is. I thought I can take on f4 and at least have something for my troubles. Rook d3 seems quite strong, but if all else fails, I can give the exchange on f3, and I will have some compensation for it. And I don't really have enough time to, you know, weigh my options properly. I will just have to kind of go with my gut. Maybe bishop takes e5 was stronger than queen takes b5, but I didn't want to give her two connected passers on the queen side. One is already bad enough. But yeah, this position is still quite clearly bad for me. a4 is quite strong. I'm quite happy to be able to play c6 here because it allows me, yeah, just kind of clicking buttons right now. This is the horrible move. Rook a4 was a lot stronger. The knight needs to come to e6, rook needs to come to e8. Things need to be happening, but basically I'm just kind of shuffling pieces here, trying not to lose on time. I will still lose on time. I should have taken on a3, but yeah, okay, I should just resign, I guess. There's really no point in... I mean, the position is now maybe even objectively not that horrible for me, but who cares when you have 3 seconds? Yeah, I kind of begged for a draw there, but this is, I mean, objectively this is a drawn position. And not nearly as bad as it was before. And I'm grateful for the acceptance because obviously I was going to lose. I was going to lose there. Okay, this is not a very good last game, so let's play one more. Now let's play a proper opening. Yeah, I think my opponent played extremely well for most of the game. Some decisions I kind of disagreed with, but not very many. This is not recommended. You should not be doing this. Kind of disclaimer, this is not a very good opening. But after, you know, I gave all the, you know, the big speech about playing a proper opening, and then I immediately grew bored and decided to play something which is at best semi-correct and probably completely incorrect. Yeah, and here, I mean, the endgame is not very pleasant. I think I should go, I take the bishop, and at least I have the 2 bishops for the future. I mean, I'm still worse, but... Because obviously you cannot really make so many moves with the queen in the opening and expect not to be worse. But if I do finish development, structurally my position is quite sound, obviously. It's not a given that I will finish development, though. It's very, very possible to never actually get out of the corner here. Extremely possible. Bishop e3 is a strong move. I like bishop e3. It makes it very awkward for me to develop the dark square bishop. without compromising my structure on the queen side. I can play bishop e7, but then after knight c3, there's really no comfortable way for me to... Maybe I can find a way. No, I think knight c3 was a lot stronger here. I think this is a mistake. I mean, c4 is a very nice move strategically, but I think it was a lot more important for white to develop as fast as possible and not give me any time to finish my development. This is an acceptable position for black now. White is probably still slightly better, but it's definitely a very playable position for black. In particular, if I manage to play b6, bishop b7, or maybe f6, e5, and bishop e6. One of those two plans is something I should be aspiring to here with black. I will start by... Yeah, I'm not sure about rook e8, bishop f8 actually. But maybe it's not a bad idea. Just to make sure I don't blunder anything on the king's side. Obviously bishop f8 now would have lost immediately to knight f6 check, which is not something I wanted to allow. And now that the knight left the c3 square, I'm very happy to do this, because I should be able to fight against this knight landing on d5. And you know, these types of endgames are actually quite nice for black. They are comfortably slightly better for black. Not by much, but definitely black is the side enjoying this more. He should go knight c3 as soon as possible, because if he allows b5 as well, I think it becomes legit quite unpleasant for white to play. But it does seem like this will be a dry technical game, so I might have to play one more after it. This also doesn't feel like the game I would like to finish on. I mean, some concepts I'm trying to explain here might actually become useful if you see positions like this in the future, but still, it's not as exciting as all that. Peter is just starting to get going, it seems. Yeah, that's not exactly what's happening here, but I just want a game I feel good about to be the final game of the stream, and it's not really happening for me so far. Also, I probably have managed to relinquish most of my advantage here. Don't really like what I've done with my position. It's still better, but I feel like it was a lot. The advantage was a lot larger some time ago. Queen c7. That's very adventurous. Completely missed queen c4 check. Yeah. Yeah, we're definitely playing one more after this because this is just too embarrassing. I now have to, I think, accept this perpetual. I have nothing better. And it might not even be a perpetual. Queen c7 I think makes an immediate draw. I'm very, very surprised by what my opponent is doing here. I think Queen c7 was an immediate draw for him. Why isn't he doing that is unclear to me. The sad thing is though that I'm not sure I have any way to avoid it anyway. It's just so stupid. Like I can take on h2, but he still goes Queen c7. And yeah, there's just nothing here I can do. King d2. Yeah, bishop f2 is a mistake, but I will eventually win this game, but it's just not great, so we'll play one more. Even showing off some pre-move skills, which is not generally my forte. Okay, I will play something more gambity in this game and see where it leads us. Or at least I will attempt to. This banter could last for eternity if Peter doesn't get a good win. Yeah, it could. It could also go forever if people don't reply to my first move. Which seems to be happening more and more as this progresses. Now I have a flight in about 30 hours, Blobix. So, you know, the one more can't really progress much further than that. Okay. This didn't really happen for us. The lag is real though. It still says currently playing when we obviously aren't playing anymore. Okay. Let's try and make this into a memorable last game somehow. Please don't play bishop b5 check. Thank you. Oh. Boo. We are not amused. This probably is not the theoretically correct way of replying to f4. I feel like I should have castled. But once again, who wants to watch this for theoretically correct ways of playing the Sicilian? Let's get mated and go down in flames. Feels like e5 is very promising, obviously. White can also start with bishop e3, force me to go rook c7, and then start calculating e5. Strategically, this is extremely dangerous. But, I mean tactically, but strategically, it's not really that horrible to have the rook on c7 in these positions. Somewhat surprisingly, because you can continue developing in a somewhat normal Sicilian fashion here. And you might not even get mated. Queen g3 looks very unpleasant to face here. Although maybe I can play b4. So my opponent finally decides to go with the most critical move. Knight d5 is a possibility, knight d7 is a possibility. It feels like black probably gets mated after both, but we have to choose what gives us the best option of the best chance of you know, complicating matters and getting an interesting game. I think it's knight d7. The sad thing is after queen g3, okay, I'm just losing by force now. What I was planning to do after queen g3 just loses on the spot, which is unfortunate. Yeah, this is not going at all well. The thing is, I wanted to play queen g3, g6, but then queen f3 just wins a rook. Yeah, it seems like the one more crowd is getting the one more. Because I might not lose this game eventually, but it's just such a horrible game already. It's impossible to justify this being the last game of the banter. Like, I have to do this. Everything else, I think, just loses immediately. And this also loses, but not in 3 moves. It loses in like 10 moves. I don't know why he didn't play bishop h6. Knight e4 is also, of course, very strong, but bishop h6 looked like it was winning straight away. Well, I mean, it was winning the exchange, at the very least. Yeah, this is an opening experiment which went badly wrong. I got so depressed after seeing bishop e2 that I just kind of went crazy there. Bishop e2 kind of dispirited me a great deal. There are so many, you know, fun things you can do against the Najdorf. And bishop e2 is a very strong move, but it's not what I wanted to see. Bishop g5 is very good here. Knight d6 is also very good, of course. I mean, there's nothing wrong with knight d6. But you feel like bishop g5 might just be mate. Which is not at all surprising, considering my knight is on b8 and my rook is on b7 and not on some normal human squares. Yeah, I think basically what I should be doing is I should stop you know, trying to play horribly on purpose in the openings, shelling forward. It might lead to a better chance of me finishing this banter in this millennium. If some kind of bishop f6 doesn't win on the spot, I might even survive this. I have a feeling that my opponent is also kind of trying to cooperate with... he's playing somewhat in the spirit of what I wanted to do in this game. Like, he could have just won a ton of material immediately out of the opening, and he instead went for a mating attack. Which was not bad, but was not entirely required either. And he continues trying to deliver that mate, in the process making my position better and better, I think. And I'm also, you know, for once, a great deal ahead on the clock. But yeah, I'm not, even if I win this, which seems a lot more likely right now than it did like 2 minutes ago, this is not going to be the last game. Yeah, and there was a bishop f6 there, I think, after queen takes c6 on move 21. I think this is what unknown identity is referring to. I saw it, but like I was looking at it in every single position, and I kind of realized that this is probably extremely strong in this particular moment, but it was too late to stop. I will show you after the game. Bishop takes g5 is very strong here. Yeah, this is not completely winning for me, but yeah, I think this is what he is referring to, and if it is, I think he is correct, because bishop f6, I was kind of paying attention to it constantly, but in this particular moment, this was actually working. And there's just no defense against this. And if I play rook g8 first, he goes rook d8 anyway. Yeah, I saw it whilst he was thinking about rook d3, but basically having played knight c6, I couldn't really turn back, so I was at the mercy of my opponent finding this idea. I was paying attention to bishop f6 sort of throughout the game, but this is the one moment where I allowed it because I thought rook g8 saves me, but rook d8 just wins. It's a typical combination, but I still managed to miss it. Playing against penguins, but there's also something wrong with my screen. Okay, so we'll do this. I don't know why he played knight c. Ah, okay. I'm very happy about this now. I was somewhat unhappy about his knight c6, but I am a lot happier now because this means a proper game. Also, I have no idea what I'm supposed to do here, which is kind of embarrassing. I have a feeling it's probably this, but I honestly don't know. I absolutely adore penguins. It's very much on the record, Jan. Kind of confused with how the game is progressing. I'm unsure if I should be fighting for the d5 square here, or rather, how hard should I be fighting for it? c4 is a possibility. What I just played is a possibility. There is a number of things I could have tried doing there. If he goes queen a5, I also have bishop d2 as an option. I have knight c4 as an option. Yeah, this is what I missed. I realize now what I missed. This is kind of sad. Brain not really working. I considered cd5, knight d5 an immediate queen a5 check. But what he will do, of course, is he will take, as he has already taken, and if I take on d5 here, he will play queen a5 check, and bishop d2 is not possible. I have to play knight c3, and then he goes d6, d5, and black is just much, much better. Which is why I will refrain from recapturing altogether and go for positional compensation, of which I have very little. but it's still better than the other line, I think. Bishop b5 check doesn't really give me anything there, Thrifty. It's a move I can make, but I don't think it actually achieves much. Black can play bishop d7, black can also just play king f7. It's a fine square for the king. Bigger question is if I could... I mean, I want to bluff here. I want to play bishop b3 and see if he wants to take on b2, because the queen kind of gets stuck. I'm not sure I can actually win it if he takes. Which would be a problem, but I want to make this bluff because I really, really want to win this couple of tempi. This is the kind of a setup I was aiming for when I went for bishop e2 instead of taking on d5. If I can land this bishop on d4, put the knight on e3, the extra pawn on d5 is not really very keenly felt. Actually, you can make an argument for it somewhat getting in the way for black. And now I want to start with, you know, g4, g5, f5, f6 and kind of give mate on the king's side. In particular because of, you know, I promised you an exciting final game and this is what I'm trying to deliver here. G5 first, I guess. Not grabbing b2 is a crime against all penguin kind. I tend to agree with that, Jan. I tend to agree with that. Missed bishop h3 altogether. Feel kinda sad about that, but we will proceed as if... Oh god. But maybe this is not entirely stupid, actually. This is actually sort of, it's a brilliant idea, but it's a blunder, but I think it works out, is what I'm trying to say. It's definitely a blunder, because my plan was to reply to bishop f1 with queen takes f1, but then I think knight e5 is very strong. But bishop takes d7 actually seems to work. And here we should be giving mate somehow. It feels like. Actually, I'm very unhappy about g6 because, yeah, if he goes rook takes f5 here, my plans of like landing a very nice, beautiful finishing attack are going to get completely ruined. I should not have played g6 simply for aesthetic reasons. It's just it's a betrayal of everything I was trying to do in this game. I'm so mad at myself. I should have played more or less any other move. Incredibly mad at myself right now. I'm also misplaying this quite badly, might actually run into trouble. I'm not at all sure I'm better anymore even. And this all happened because I instead of continuing to give mate, I went for material. It's a horrible decision. Queen h5 probably was winning on the spot as well. That was just so horrible. I will never forgive myself. This would have been such a fitting end to the stream, and instead we are now trying to, you know, grind out a technical victory of some sort. Yeah. I have forgotten the face of my father. Let me show you what I should have done there. In this position, and really this should be possible to find a move like this, Queen h5. It skewers the rooks on f7 and e8, creates a threat of g5, g6. Maybe the only move black can make here is king g8. And knight takes g7 wins on the spot. Also, probably knight h6 check might be winning, but knight g7 is just so efficient, and that would be such a nice way to end this game. And instead, I've done g6, allowing this exchange sacrifice, which was absolutely correct by my opponent. And somewhere around here, if he goes e3. I'm not even sure I'm doing so well, to be honest. But anyway, this was, I think, my best attempt at some kind of a nice finish. We're probably unlikely to get a better one, so I will end the stream here. My many thanks to people who persevered through the initial period of more buffering than stream, and for people who hung out with me despite me playing significantly poorer than I normally play during these sessions. This will be the one and only session I do before the World Cup. I might do something from the World Cup in terms of, I don't know, if the tournament goes smoothly enough. At least in the first couple of rounds, I might do some kind of recap videos or not. We'll see how that goes. But yeah, that has not been anywhere near my best stream. But I wanted to stream today, and we got what we got. Thanks everyone again, and we will see each other in the future. There will be more streaming at some point. There will probably be more commentary work and things of that nature. But for today, thanks for sticking with me, and good night, I guess, for most of you. Cheers.